Fewer changes for them. They'll hope to take advantage of a much-changed French lineup. What a start for France. A towering takeoff over the top of the net. It's an emphatic way to score the first point of the day. We've seen Luati to serve next. Scored 2 of his 6 spikes yesterday, only came on for the final set. It's a good serve. Portugal trying to keep it alive off the net. France can come back with a big attack now. On this far side, buried by Timothée Carl, who is listed as a libero on the official team sheet for the weekend, but playing very much as a wing spiker today, scoring his first point. This time France have to help it over with the final touch. Portugal a chance to score their first point. Stopped in the backcourt, kept alive. Patry across to the far side, and a swing and a miss though at the net from Agunye. And really he should have done better. Portugal led off the hook, struggling to take advantage of getting France on the back foot early in the rally. Alex Ferreira, their top scorer on serve, their best server as well. 8 aces before today, but he can only power that one into the net. France back up by 2. Jonas Ogunye, who scored the first spike of the match, will serve for the first time. That one long beyond the baseline. Another attack hit error, this time from Portugal. And France up by 3. It's a good hit on the far side, finding a gap just inside of the sideline. Great to see Bruno Cunha okay. He was really good yesterday, the 21-year-old. 12 points, converting 10 of 23 spikes, but he got hurt, and it looked like it could have been bad in the 4th set. Didn't play any further part, but able to get back in the starting lineup and back in business today. Speaking of getting back in business, Jean Patry scores his 93rd point of the tournament, his first of the weekend. Spike success rate of 50.3%. Nobody scored more points for France over the first 3 weeks. Patry's serve, full of power. It puts Portugal on the back foot, and France will take full advantage and lead by 4. Bultor this time. It's 4 different French players to score now. What a good hit to the back corner for Portugal. They desperately needed something. That man again stepping up. Ferreira with the captain's contribution. Well fielded by Rosart. And a score for France, back up by 4. Portugal not able to build any momentum at the moment. It's a really strong serve from Bruno Cunha, dealt with well by Nicolas Rosart. That one too long from Timothée Carl. France 1 point away from the technical timeout, looking rather comfortable at the moment, it has to be said. Lorenzo Martins on serve, trying to change that. Did really well off the bench yesterday, the 22-year-old wing spiker. What a leap that was from Boultour. Getting all kinds of hang time. And France are getting all kinds of contributions from all over the court. Second point for Boultour. Takes them into the technical timeout with a commanding lead.
Normalement, le 12, il a beaucoup de ballons. Il a jamais commencé, mais à chaque fois qu'il rentrait avec ce passeur, il avait beaucoup de ballons, balle très rapide et très diagonale. D'accord? Donc écartez-vous. D1 et vous fermez. D1 vous fermez. Ok? Allez.
So France have scored the first, or 8 of the first 12 points of this one. Coach Laurent Tilly looking calm and composed, and so too are his team, although the message will have been to keep it up. There's no room to take your foot off the accelerator, as Portugal showed yesterday against Iran, of course. They had a set point in the second set, Portugal, which would have put them 2 sets up. Iran were able to survive and come back and win the match 3-1. Portugal back within 3 here. Another point. In close proximity to the net, this time Filip Svetkinin. High into the lights from Svetkinin. Alex Ferreira has to help it over. France can get on the front foot in the rally now. Attack from the backcourt, but what a big block from Alex Ferreira. When Portugal needed a big play, their captain stepped up. The first time they've scored back-to-back points in the match. It closes what had been a 4-point deficit at the technical timeout down to 2. Set right on top of the net. The Portuguese block working better now in tandem on the far side. Set again. France come once more. 2 deflections to take it over the baseline. Helped over by Alex Ferreira, and what a finish to beat Rosar in the backcourt. Alex Ferreira carrying his team on his back right now. It was a good overhead pass from Lorenzo Martins, but 3 blockers able to get in position, and Alex Ferreira able to thread the eye of the needle. Three in a row for Portugal. And a run that's emphatically ended as France keep their noses in front. Plenty of space. Plenty of height for Jonas Ogunye. Rafael Kor to serve. Backcourt attack, far side, double block for France. Back up by 3. Back-to-back points for them now. Jonas Ogunye has made a really good contribution, 3 points already. Alex Ferreira, did it get a touch along the way? It did. It's another for Alex. That's his 4th, more than anybody else in the contest. Thiago Violas to serve. Call set to the far side off the top of the block. Diving dig. Had to be helped over by Gil Pereira. Call can set again. Pipe bomb this time from the backcourt. Timothée Carl coming in with authority. The second point for Carl. Moati's serve is long. The lead keeps changing between 3 and 2 points. Tremendous serve from Alex Ferreira. Very good recovery from France, though, to force the point on the far side. Timothée Carl against the big block. Got his angles right to carry the ball out of bounds via the deflection hit. The set right on top of the net. The power from Lorenzo Martins. He blocked up the sting out of it. The joust to the net. It's a Portuguese point, is it? No. It's gone the way of the French team. There was contact, I think, with the top of the net from one of those Portuguese players. This ties the largest lead so far for France in this opening set, and that will extend it. The blockers working well on the far side, 2 of them tight and deflecting it well. Back across court, Timothée Carl, I think, with the decisive touch. In fact, it may even have been the right hand of his teammate. It was. And that forces Portugal to take a timeout, having gone down by 5. This first set can very quickly get away from Portugal if they don't start to put together a run. Jonas Ogunye putting together a run for France on serve. Off the top of the block. Backcourt here into the Portuguese block, and that's just what they needed off the back of the timeout. Lorenzo Martins was there. Plenty of help. Philippe Martins, the player alongside him. Core set, tandem attack coming in across court with the big hit right on the money. Timothée Carl has started really well. France back up by 5. That's his 5th point. Been really efficient in this first set. Jean Patry to serve to try to take France into the technical timeout with a 6-point lead. The serving has been very good in this first set from both teams. Rossard helps it up. Cork and set, big time bull tour battering ram of a hit. A 6-point France lead. The 2015 European Championships, France. It's been a really good few years for them. It's been a really good start for them in this match, although the serve flies long. And they have committed 3 faults on serve to Portugal's 1. Quickly, Portugal with another. So back-to-back faults on serve, 1 for either team. It's a good serve reception right on top of the net. It allows the opportunity for Lorenzo Martins to score. So much easier for the setter to pick out the right option when the serve reception puts the ball right back on top of the net. Lorenzo to serve. Again, another example of a fine serve reception. This time Kor tried to sneak it over for the score himself. There's a fault here and a point for Portugal. So they're back within 4 from 6 down. Rafael Kor trying to score here over the top of the block. It was well saved on the 3-meter line. Try and see the faults here. Slight contact with the net from Rafael Kor. So 2 things in that rally that didn't come off for him. Lorenzo's serve again with power. Well fielded, but well blocked. Yassine Louati trying to power it through, but they didn't really move the ball, France. The Portuguese block knew exactly where it was coming from. And they've halved that 6-point deficit now down to 3. Lorenzo serving the spark. That time too long, not by much. Well left by France. Boultour to serve for them. One of many on this roster who were part of the side that won the World League in 2017. Joust to the net, and Portuguese players showing their power right now. Back within 3 again. Not just their power, but their character. Something they displayed on this court yesterday against Iran. It's another block for Portugal. Alex Pereira there this time. Jean Patry shut down. Yet another point for Alex. And Portugal are back within 2. They've scored 6 of the last 8 points. Try again from this near side, and this time Patry gets it to stick down to the surface at the feet of the defence. The most accurate attack hitter over the first 3 weeks, their top scorer. He's the 2nd tallest player on this roster. That's what happens when the serve reception is too long. Although France can't take advantage when really they should have, reaching over called. Rafael Kor's having a torrid time of it at the moment. A couple of faults in quick succession for him. Alex. Blistering hit past Rosar on the baseline, who really should have let it go, but it came at him so quickly. He was forced into trying to go for it, tempted into going for it, and he couldn't resist. Call set to the far side, Patry got it. Just about squeezed past the block. Put off the covering backcourt defence. And the former Filip Svetkinin trying to keep it alive. Patry up to 4 points. France up by 2, but quite operating with any real confidence or fluidity at the moment, and they'll call a timeout, 2018. have already lost 3 matches at this tournament, France, which is only 1 shy of their total number of defeats from last year, when their 4th defeat didn't come until the final against Russia, the gold medal match. They were impressive in beating Australia in straight sets fairly comfortably here yesterday. Being pushed by Portugal in the first set today. Portugal back within 1. It certainly didn't look as though it was going to be this way at the second technical timeout when France were leading 16-10. Serve too long from Alex Ferreira. France's improvement in serving from the baseline has helped them maintain this lead. The last 3 service errors have all come from Portugal. That one was just dropped over the top. The block getting into a good position but not able to penetrate. France asking a question though as to whether there was a fault on the Portuguese side of the floor. And they will challenge that call, France. As it stands, Portugal back within 1 at 21-20. If this is overturned, it's a huge point for Coach Tilley's team. It would give them a 22-19 lead. First to 25 in this first set. Best of 5 sets in the match. If we go all the way to a 5th set, which hasn't yet happened on this court here in Ardebil, the 5th set is up to only 15. And the challenge is for a net touch, and there is clearly one halfway down the net, so it's a French point. And that is now a significant lead for them at this point in the opening set, up by 3 and only 3 points away. In response to that, Portugal will call a timeout. They've shown already that they can come back strong when they need to. They closed a 6-point gap down to 1. Can they close a 3-point gap on the final stretch of this first set? Jonas Agounier to serve for France. A big hit down the centre, deflects off Boultor for the Portuguese point. That's a start in their latest comeback attempt. Point for Philippe Martins. They're going to make a change as well, Portugal. Valdir Sequeira coming in. The man who just scored that last point, Philippe Martins, going to the bench. Valdir Sequeira is 37 years of age, closing in on 300 caps for his country. And he gets the ace. In off the bench and in with a bang. Just what Portugal needed. Back-to-back points off that timeout to close the gap to 1. Calls back set to this near side, buried by Patry. France trying to hold off the comeback and edge their way closer to the first set finish line. Patry's up to 5 points. Only Alex Ferreira for Portugal has more. Rosar keeps this one up, helped to cross court. There he goes again, Patry stops in the backcourt this time. Rosar let it go and made a really good decision to do so. And France are now within touching distance of taking this first set. 3 set points for France. Patry now their out-and-out leading scorer with 6. Portugal saved the first of those 3 set points. Filip Svetkinin towering at the net. Only converted 4 of his 13 spike attempts yesterday, en route to 6 points. Needed to score that one, and he did. Two more set points to come, and arguably it's even more difficult for Portugal now, having to hold their own serve. Bruno Cunha. Quarter set, back set for the backcourt attack, and the blocker's in the way. Portugal not giving up hope just yet. Svetkinin alongside Lorenzo Martins. And having just scored a valuable spike. What a valuable block, Filip Svetkinin, who only completed 2 of his 11 blocks yesterday. Bruno Cunha long though on the serve, when there was no room for error. And that rather symptomatic of the set as a whole. Portugal making big attempts at a comeback and ultimately just falling short against a French team which opened up a 6-point lead at the second technical timeout and was able to cling on to take it 25-23. And a French team that's yet to falter here in Ardabil, winning 4 sets from 4. A 25-23 first set, 5 more points on spike attempts for France. A huge differential in that regard to overcome the 4 extra block points of Portugal. France also crucially had 2 more points off opposition errors. And, despite not getting a point on serve, they were able to come through and win the opening set 25-23. So far doing all they need to do here in Ardabil. Straight sets win yesterday. They take the first set of their match today as well, as they continue to try to hold off the challenge of world champions Poland, just behind them in the standings. It was a really strong start from France, and then they fell off the rails a little bit. Portugal looked like they were going to take advantage, closing a 6-point gap down to 1 on a couple of occasions, but Coach Tilley's team were able to hold off the comeback and take the set. It'll be a little warning for those players, though, of what Portugal are capable of when they do get up ahead of steam. Alex Ferreira, their captain, was very much the man that sparked that attempted comeback into life, and he leads the way of all scorers so far in the match with 8 points from that first set. Jean Patry of France has 6. They've also had 5 early on from Timothée Karl. Trevor Klevno is ready to play here in this second set. Now, he only had 35 points before this weekend, but then fired a match-high 18 yesterday when he nailed 16 out of 22. Rafael Corr will serve first. Court attack, drilled down the line. Now, France aren't happy. The point given to Portugal. Players and coach feel perhaps that was wide, and they are going to challenge. Looked wide to me, I must admit, but the official straight away gave the point to Portugal, and there you go, it was out. So it's a French point to start the second set. Corr on serve again for France. Right back towards the baseline now. That was very close as well. Not going to challenge this time. Here's a Portuguese serve now. 1-1. Set right on top of the net into the block. Corr will set again, same side, different outcome. Drilled by Yassine Louati. The second point for Louati, who's now on serve. Portugal tie up the second set at 2-2. Certainly being determined to not allow France to build up the kind of breathing room they built up in the first set, which ultimately made the Portuguese attempt at a comeback too difficult. Lorenzo Martins, who put together a good run on his serve in that first set. It's another powerful one down the line. Set from the 3-meter line overhead. Now France a chance to get on top of the rally here. Coming in near side to squeeze it home is Timothée Karl. Had a really good scoring run early in the first set. He adds to his early 5 points with one right at the start of the second set. Quick response from Portugal. Set from Tiago Violas to Philippe Martins, his right hand. Oh, Corr setting rather horizontally towards the net. Didn't give Portugal much time. It was a clever idea onto the ball tour. Right over the top of the net. Was able to squeeze it down inside of the block. Nothing to separate these two over the first 8 points of the second set. Nobody able to hold their serve at the moment. That pattern continues. Well, beyond the baseline. Can Timothée Karl change that pattern of scoring? Good chance to hit it against the block. The point for France, for Yacine Louati. They break the standoff and lead by 2. Deflected out the fingertips of Thiago Violas. Violas with the set to the far side. Well adjusted mid-air, falling backwards. The substitute, João Simoes. It looked like Portugal had put themselves in trouble. Simoes bailed them out. Bultor. Did that get a touch of a Portuguese player? The official says yes. Portugal aren't sure. It's a point for France. Certainly landed out of bounds. Doesn't look as though there will be a challenge. Bultor now, who goes to serve, has 5 points. He can only serve into the net. France 1 point away from the technical timeout. Laurent Tilly will have a better opportunity to communicate his message to his set of players momentarily. Right now, in fact, France up by 2 at the technical timeout in the second set, 8-6. Portugal close again, but just can't quite seem to hang with the defending silver medalists. Done a good job of spreading their scoring around so far. 6 points for Karl, 6 for Patry as well, 5 for Bultor, 4 for Louati for France. Portugal were heavily reliant on their captain Alex Ferreira with 8 points in the first set. He's not scored since. The next top scorer is Svetkinen with 4. And that's an attack line fault from Bruno Cunha. He's a player that they can certainly turn to for points, as was the case yesterday, but he made the attack hit error that time, stepping on the line. He's a backcourt player. He's not able to connect with the 3-meter line. It's a mistake on the serve reception as well. Kicked up into the air, but out of bounds by Louati. Portugal do really well to survive that scare. The serve reception put them in trouble. The block bailed them out. Big play from Violas. Patry through the hands of the blockers, recovered in the backcourt. And the score for Lorenzo Martins. Portugal believing a comeback is on the cards again. Back-to-back points, closes the gap to 1. Cross-court set to Patry, the blockers there again. Patry will try once more, second bite of the cherry, denied a second time in quick succession. No way to penetrate Portugal. They are back level at 9-9. France's biggest weapon, failing to fire. That nudges them back ahead from Jonas Ogunye. Portuguese block has been working so well, though, not just over the last few points, but through the entirety of the match. Cross court from Bruno Cunha, his third point. Portugal level again, 10-10. Lorenzo Martins can only serve into the net. This is where France put together a big run in the first set to open up a big gap. Heading into that second technical timeout. Jonas Ogunye to serve for them here. No signs of a big gap materialising at the moment, although Patry has other ideas as he buries his 7th point. Squeezed down the line past 2 defenders for the score. We keep alternating now between a French lead and a tie game. France able to break the pattern to go up by 2 here. The score for Timothée Carl, who takes his tally to 7 to tie level with Patry as France's top scorer. Boultour helps it up into the backcourt, has to be pushed over. France brace themselves for a big Portuguese attack. Now a chance to hit one of their own, but only into the net from Carl. Looked like they were starting to turn the tide back in their favour in the rally, and then the attack hit error from Timothée Carl. Portugal back within 1. Blockers were in a good position. Did enough to put Carl off. Bullet of a serve all the way through. Portugal level. Just when it looked as though France might be starting to open up a gap, his team right back at them. Attack from the far side. Stopped by Portugal. Static hit, but with plenty of power from Cunha. These two trading blows, and again it's the Portuguese block. They have come up big here today. Their 9th point from blocks in the match. France have only had 2. And Portugal have come from 2 down to lead. Carl tipping, and the ball touched out of bounds. It's a case being made from both sides of the court here as to whose point this should be, and it looks as though we will have a challenge from Portugal. So the point initially awarded to France. Made a really good go at it again here. Is there a block touch? The answer looks like no. The ball landing out of bounds. No deflection along the way, so it is a Portuguese point. They were right to challenge. Bruno Cunha will serve here, with Portugal having turned a 2-point deficit into a 2-point lead and closing in on the second technical timeout of this second set. Cunha's looping, dropping serve too long. Didn't drop quick enough. You've seen Luati playing the role of cheerleader in the French camp, trying to rally the troops together to fight back here. Backcourt attack again. The Portuguese blockers doing the damage. And France to respond. May have been a block touch off Svetkinen. Bulto to serve for France to try to get them level. Their third top scorer so far. There's Luati. Svetkinen hung in the air over the head from Bulto. They have to get it over. Core succeeds in doing so, but it's going to come back at them strong off the top of the block. Up by Patry. Deep set from Core, triple block Portugal. Luati shut down. Their front line of defense has been so dominant, so diligent. Three sewn together tight, penetrating the net, no way through for France. Their 11th point from blocks in the match. They should get on top of this rally as well. Finished off by Lorenzo Martins. Portugal by 3. Picking up pace at just the right time. Pure power that time from Luati, determined to force it all the way through. What's even more impressive from Portugal in this second set is they're doing it all without their captain, Alex Ferreira, who scored 8 of their 23 points in the first set. It's been a more balanced offensive approach from them here in the second so far, with Bruno Cunha and Lorenzo Martins each on 5, Svetkinin and Simoes on 4. And the block for France landing out of bounds. It's another for Bruno Cunha, his 6th. Cunha responding. France just trying to stay in the fight here in the second set for now. Gonna have to win a point on serve. Yassine Louati up next. Really good serve reception right back on top of the net. Caught. Tenses his muscles to stop it in the backcourt against the block, kept up by Rosart. Across to the near side against the block again, but out of bounds. Timothée Carl celebrating with a clenched fist as France look to force their way back into contention. Back-to-back points, gets them back in touch. Portugal are going to call a timeout here to try put the brakes on the momentum that France are building. France taking the first set 25-23. Portugal lead by 1 towards the end of the second set. France, though, have scored the last 2 points. Looking to put together a run on serve with Yassine Louati. Can they get level? Against the block a couple of times. Core back set far side. As Boyer into the game, stopped once, not stopped a second time though. He lands down on the deck, and France are level. They've turned to Stéphane Boyer off the bench, and he scores the point to tie it. Boyer, who scored 16 points yesterday, comes in as France's second best scorer in the competition. And now they're ahead. Agounier with an open goal of a finish off the shank serve reception. France from 3 down late in the second set have the lead. They trailed at 16-19. They have scored 4 points without reply since. Timeout Portugal. Run put together on the serve of Yassine Louati. Portugal will hope that the timeout breaks the momentum that he has built. Rosart falling backwards, Core with the back set, far side, Boyer. Portugal to hit one off the 3-meter line, and what a big point that is for them. Bruno Cunha, who was hanging for a long time, allowed the French blockers to get in position. No run-up for Bruno Cunha, but he was still able to get the score to tie the scores level. beating a French triple block, which was penetrating and well placed. It's a wild serve, though, from Lorenzo Martins. Has, for the most part, served well up until that point. Sagounier next up to serve for France, so we're up 21-20. Coach Tilly's team needing 4 more points here in this second set. No touch on its way through as the call from the official. It was certainly long beyond the baseline. There were a few French players close to it, but looks like none of them touched it. Whizzed past the side of Boyer, but didn't scrape him. And France lead by 2. Almost kept up in the backcourt, frustrating for Yassine Louati. Looked like he'd done enough, but Jonas Sagounier, it's a long way down for him. Wasn't quite quick enough, the middle blocker, to get down to it there. Difficult when it stopped behind him as well, and he was facing the wrong way. Valdir Sequeira in for Portugal. Remember, he came in the first set to serve an ace to get them level. And he repeat the trick here in the second. No, he can't. It's too long. And France are back up by 2 and only 2 points away. Tough to take for the 37-year-old. Stéphane Boyer to serve for France. And to only serve into the net. Portugal still very much in this. Hot on the heels of France. Full set, Boyer coming in. Had the defensive door slammed in his face by João Simoes. 23-23. Another huge Portuguese block. Who's going to have the first set point of set 2? Bruno Cunha's serve. It's France emphatically providing the answer to that question. Daryl Boultor, 24-23. He put a dent in the floor with that one. Timothée Carl to try and see them through. Good serve reception, out of bounds off the hands of Boultor, who was doing his best to block. And we are going the distance and then some here in the second set. It becomes win by 2 clear points, so first to 26 as it stands. 32 minutes, second set so far. France back ahead. Boultor back in business quickly. Second set point for France. Boultor with 8 now in the game to tie the likes of Carl, Alex and Bruno Cunha. He's on serve as well, the 23-year-old middle blocker. It's wide over the net. Now France think maybe that caught the sideline. They're celebrating. They think they've done it here, France. Portugal think otherwise. If this serve catches the sideline, then Laurent Tilly's team have won the set. And it did. The officials called it correctly. And France take a 2-set-to-love lead off an ace. Australia's points tally is actually the same as Portugal's. Their sets won percentage is better because Australia have pushed many of their matches close. Portugal have suffered 5 of their 9 defeats in straight sets and might well suffer another one in straight sets here unless they can turn this around. So that means that if they were to lose this one, Portugal, and Australia were to cause an upset against Iran, it would put Australia ahead of Portugal and drop Portugal into the relegation spot. Perhaps even more likely, though, is if Portugal lose this one and Iran beat Australia later, the final match for Portugal and Australia is against each other tomorrow on this court. The final match of the penultimate weekend, and an Australian win in that one would see them leapfrog Portugal, so Portugal are in real trouble. And a big French block to score the first point of the third set. They've struggled to get the block working for them here, so they'll be encouraged by that. Certainly the third point that France have scored off a block versus Portugal's 12. Portugal up and running in the third set, though. The error on serve. France back ahead. Too hot to handle. Down at the feet of the libero, Gil Pereira. France are doing all they can possibly do to hold off the challenge of Poland for a place in the top 5. In terms of those two teams in the standings, France arrive 1 win and 5 points better off than Portugal. So a straight sets win would be significant for them here in terms of the fine margins that it may well come down to when this preliminary round is all said and done at the end of next weekend. It's the win-loss ratio that decides the placement first. If there's a tie in that regard, it goes down to points won. And by that I mean 3 points for a 3 or 4 set win, 2 points for a 5 set win, and 1 point for a 5 set defeat. And if they're tied on win-loss ratio and points, then it comes down to sets won percentage. So each and every set counts. Portugal close the gap to 2 again here. Marco Ferreira coming in for the first time this weekend, showing what he's all about. The 8th top scorer in the whole tournament over the first 3 weeks with 110 points, a spike success rate of 44.4%. Although he didn't play at all yesterday, and he didn't play in the first 2 sets of this one here today. Portugal know that that matchup tomorrow with Australia is so significant. I'm sure they will bring all of their big guns at the same time in that one. Likewise, Australia. Do you try and cause an upset today, or do you save yourself for tomorrow? It's the balancing act the coaches of those two teams are having to deal with. Well, France are firing on all cylinders here at the start of the third. A 5-point edge already. 1 point away from the technical timeout. No signs at the moment here in the third set of that character and spirit of Portugal that we've talked about so often. Boyer with a bullet. Saved by Rosar, the pancake move against the block. And two players getting down to it, trying to keep it alive, but Portugal come through to score just their third point of the third set. Two players trying to keep it up. Difficult to see right down on the floor there, one and then two, but in the end not able to elevate the ball enough. Rosar tenses his abs to get it up court. Tipped over the top from the back court. Here come Portugal up by Boyer. Two players tangling with each other. And that allows Portugal to ensure the point is theirs, to delay the technical timeout even further. Marco Ferreira to serve. He's the older of the two Ferreira brothers, 31 years of age. Alex Ferreira, the captain, is 27. Serve too long from Marco. So France lead by 4 at the technical timeout. Here in a third set that Portugal have to win. France in a commanding position, but still plenty that Coach Laurent Tilly wants them to sort out. Lots of different players getting a run out versus last night for France, and it's a great opportunity to win another match in straight sets, but to get minutes to everybody, keep everybody fresh, fit and firing. Timothée Carl on serve for them has certainly been firing so far. 9 points to lead all scorers. It's another French point. It was long from Simoes. Serve long from Timothée Carl. So 4 points the margin again. Portugal have played 10 matches prior to today, and 6 of them have been decided in straight sets. They've lost 5 of those and won the other. That one touching the sideline. The point for Lorenzo Martins. France looked undecided about whether to challenge. I think they will do. Did that clip the sideline or not? Yes, it did. It's a Portuguese point. And another for them on block. So many different players have scored block points for Portugal as well. They've been so impressive in that regard, but they've committed more errors than France, and they haven't been able to attack the ball as well. They have closed this gap down to 2, though. The towering presence of Nuno Teixeira at the net, the tallest player on their roster. A whopping 2 meters 14. A block reach of 3.4 meters. And Boyer into the net. Portugal back within 1. Once again, France looked in control, and they're making it more difficult for themselves than it might have been. Boyer actually finding the antenna on that attack hit down the line. Close proximity tandem attack far side stopped against the double block from Lorenzo Martins. And reaching over called against Portugal. By a fine margin, France able to keep themselves ahead. Let's have a look here. It's the number 3, Nuno, just reaching over slightly. A really good serve from Boultour, the bullet to the baseline, and France up by 3. Boultour up to double digits alongside Timothée Carl. One had the same power but not the same precision, and Portugal were right to dodge that bullet. Nuno Teixeira to serve, only 20 years of age, the towering middle blocker. That one returned with interest. Down to the deck in front of Marco Ferreira. Rafael Cour to serve next for France, up 12-9, 3 points the lead. No touch along the way on that hit from Yassine Louati, although France think there was. It sounded like there was. Point awarded to Portugal. First viewings and sounds and angles can all be deceiving. The video should provide conclusive evidence. 12-10 France as it stands. It could very well be 13-9 instead if this challenge is successful. And there is a block touch off the left hand of the left Portuguese blocker as we look. French point. And a 4-point lead here in the third set. Portugal responds. Right on top of the net through Felipe Martins. Miguel Tavares has come in as a replacement setter for Thiago Violas, and he serves long. France back up by 4. It's the top of the block, long deflection to carry it over the top of the advertising board. Portugal need to put together a run sooner rather than later, though. Can they do it here on serve with Lorenzo Martins? Core setting right on top of the net. Tandem attack, deadly dagger of a finish from Boyer. France 1 point away from the technical timeout. Boyer firing past the single blocker, Xiao Simoes. Another one off the top of the block on the far side for Portugal. These two teams are trading points and trading blows now. France with a bit of a safety net in terms of the overall scoreline. A big safety net in terms of the set scoreline. Leading by 2 sets to love. Boyer this time had to bend his body backwards with the set slightly behind him, not able to get a run up at it. Contorted his body so clinically to take France into the technical timeout with a 4-point lead.
Quoi qu'il arrive, vous mettez vite en position, vous parlez vite, ça prend 2 secondes. 2 secondes. Sinon, on est toujours en retard et au bloc et en défense. Ok? Je vous rappelle qu'en poste 4, on bloque les diagonales et le défenseur ligne est là. Ok? Et on prend les feintes. Il n'y a pas une feinte qui tombe. Allez les gars! Allez, allez.
2 quick fire points from Boyer has helped him double his tally to 4. Contributions from throughout the roster. So far in this one, France, 11 points for Karl, 10 for Boultour, 8 for Agounier, 7 for Patry, 6 for Luati. It's been a really good scoring spread. Makes it far more difficult for the Portuguese defence to deal with when they don't know who they need to shut down to turn the momentum back in their favour. Boyer's serve into the net, closes the gap to 3. Marco Ferreira to serve for Portugal. He rocks Rosar back against the baseline. Boyer comes back at Portugal though, for his 3rd point in quick succession. (17-13) France. Timothée Karl on serve for them now. Xiao Simoes a little rocked and rattled by that latest hit. Close range attack right on top of the net. Nuno Teixeira wasn't going to miss from there. Nuno's 3rd point since coming in. His first from an attack hit after a couple of blocks. Core back set, backcourt attack. This time he stopped. Boyer, and it comes back at Rosar down the line, somehow falling away, able to keep it alive, and Boyer able to finish. They stopped him once, they weren't going to stop him a second time in the same rally. Boyer up to 6 points, and 4 of them have come over the last few minutes. Looks as though Gil Pereira doing his very best to get to that one, has suffered what appeared to be a potential injury, but it's wonderful to see him back on his feet and smiling and back on the court and ready to play. That would have been cause for real concern for Portugal, given the huge matchup they have with Australia tomorrow. Done and dusted in this one just yet. Back within 3. Although at the moment, the pattern of this third set suggests it's meandering towards an inevitable conclusion. The straight sets, France win. And Nuno serving up an ace. That was a poor serve reception from France, in truth. It slips straight through the hands of Yassine Louati. Portugal back within 2. Nuno's next serve landing out of bounds. Portugal haven't really got the block working for them in the same way that they did in sets 1 and 2 so far here in the third. Get that point to close the gap to 2 again, though. 6 blocks in set 1 for Portugal, 6 in set 2 as well. They've had 3 so far here in set 3. Back set far side, down the line, kept up by the right hand of Timothée Carl, but nobody in close proximity to him to reach the loose ball, and Portugal are back within 1. Miguel Tavares to serve. Back set to the near side. It deflects back and out of bounds, and France holding off any potential Portuguese comeback. 5 points away from taking this one in straight sets now, France. Yassine Louati to serve. That looks like a miss hit from Marco Ferreira over the top of the block. No touch along the way and way outside the playing surface. It is going to be challenged by Portugal. It didn't look like a block touch. Let's see, as it stands, it's 21-18 to France. If the call on court was correct. Is this just a desperation call from Coach Hugo Silva's team now? There's no block touch. There's no net touch. That, in fact, was what they were appealing for. It certainly didn't look like there was a block touch. The challenge was for a net touch, and there wasn't one, so it is a French point. It's a 21-18 lead. They weren't really too close to touching the net either. Portugal making the challenge more in hope than expectancy, perhaps. Have a big job to do now down the final stretch of the third set, trailing 21-18.
Ei, estamos entrando na fase quinta dos 20, tá? Tirar os erros agora. Vamos conseguir, é?
Just a reminder that Iran against Australia is up next on this court, with the first serve in about an hour and a half's time. This building will get very busy for that one, I can assure you. It was a fantastic atmosphere here last night. Zoran came from behind to beat Portugal 3-1. There's one back for Portugal here. Down by 2 right towards the end of the third set. Each of the first 2 sets only decided by 2 points in France's favour. Boyer, bang! Cross court to the corner. Boyer has been the main man for France here in set 3, particularly down the stretch. Up to 7 points, and 5 of them have come here in the third set. Portugal refused to give up hope. Off the block, back within 2 again. Running out of time to score a point on their serve, though. Can they change that here? Something they have to do if they want to come from behind to keep themselves in this match. Again, it's 37-year-old Valdir Sequeira with the responsibility. Serving an ace in the first set, failing in a similar position in the second set. What about here in the third? It's facing a bit of a delay in taking it. The 2 referees communicating with each other and with the scorers table on this near side. 22-20 is the score for France here in the third. Valdir Sequeira can now serve. Down the line and catching the line, although France, who had eyes close to it, think otherwise. It could be a second ace from just a third introduction to the game off the bench for Valdir Sequeira. It doesn't appear as though there's a French challenge, so it is an ace. And what a big one for Valdir and for Portugal. Core to the far side. There's a whistle on the play. It's a fault on the Portuguese side of the floor. France up by 2, 23-21. And they put an end to that Portuguese weapon on the baseline, Valdir Sequeira. Came in off the bench in the first set to score an ace and has done so here in the third as well. Simo ace in for Alex Ferreira. France 2 points away. Valdir has gone out with his run on serve coming to an end. Philippe Martins comes in. Stephen Boyer to serve for France. The man of the set so far for them. He's got 1 of France's 4 points on serve so far. Against the double block. And out of bounds for the point for João Simo ace. Portugal snapping at the heels of France still. Next up on serve is one of their big offensive weapons, Marco Ferreira. And that one's far too long. Dodged by Rosar. And France have a couple of match points here to try and take this in straight sets. Oh, it was dropping right next to the net. Difficult to judge And in truth, France made a meal out of it. So the first of those match points saved by Portugal. His team dangling by a thread. No room for error on serve here. Simoes over the net, that's the first hurdle. France to return it and to win the match. Yassine Louati with a lightning bolt down to the deck. France win it in straight sets, every single set by 2 points. Portugal so close but yet so far. 25-23 in the first, 26-24 in the second, 25-23 again in the third. And France with 2 straight sets victories here so far in Ardabil. Having arrived on a run of back-to-back defeats, they are very much back in business now in the hunt for a place at the final 6 and holding off the challenge of the world champions Poland just behind them. Completely rotated lineup, different players, the same outcome for France on the second day of competition here in Iran. France led by the 12 points of Timothée Karl. Also had Daryl Boultar in double figures with 10. They had 8 apiece from Yassine Louati and from Jonas Agounier, 7 apiece from Boyer and Patrick. Portugal put in a great deal of effort, grit and determination. France in the end just had too many weapons. (76-70) overall, just 6 points separating the two, but 3 sets for France. 10 extra points on spike. 11 fewer on blocks. The Portuguese block working so well. In fact, they had 9 different players come up with the stuff block Portugal. France only had 3. But opposition errors key as well. 7 more points for France in that regard as they take it in straight sets. 25-23, 26-24, 25-23. A straight sets win for France over Portugal. Iran against Australia is up next here in around an hour's time. We'll see you for that. Until then, thank you for being a part of the game.